storm a little bit, so I figure I'd show off a little bit of the dark clouds that are happening at my apartment, which hopefully won't be my residence for much longer if the house works out. Current update is that they accepted my offer, and I'm going to get it inspected, and then if the inspection goes well, then you move forward with the mortgage process and all that, which the amount of the house I've already been approved for a different location I was looking at, so a mortgage for this one is actually even a little bit less than the other one. Shouldn't be any sort of issue. So then that's the next step. But it's actually a pretty nice apartment complex and a nice view from where I live now. I will kind of miss the trees and stuff, but not paying rent, I won't miss that.
Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. In my workout today, it was a snatch focused workout. So my workout started with some regular snatches, which they're called just regular snatches, not power snatches, but I'm essentially doing all power snatches right now just to work on that extension part, because essentially with the weights that I'm using, if I were to get at the bottom, which I can, to catch it that low, I'm just cutting off my hip extension and just not lifting it as aggressively as I should be. So I'm just essentially doing power snatches until it's limiting and then trying to get under it more. Kind of the same thing I'm doing with cleans. They're basically power cleans until they're too heavy, and then I'll drop under it. So hopefully that concept holds true for the snatches, and I'm assuming that it will, and it'll allow me to lift more maximal weight in the future instead of cutting off my hip extension and just ducking under it. Just to get under it, just for the sake of it. But those all went well. It was up to 135, and it was for 3 sets of 3. A lot of like 2 sets of 2, 3 sets of 3, 2 sets of 3. A lot of that lower reps, but a lot with each warm-up set. So it's definitely it's still quite a bit of volume despite it being low reps, which is very good because I'm nowhere near a competition or anything now, so I should be doing a lot more general volume stuff. But after that, I had some rack jerks, and it was up to 170 pounds, and those are very manageable. Just my wrist kind of gets just tight on those. I don't know if it's a mobility thing, or I think it's just not really being used to doing a lot of overhead work and a lot of jerks and stuff, and they just kind of just get sore, I guess. It's nothing that's really limiting in anything, and if I put the wrist wraps on, then it's more than manageable. It's hardly anything at all, so nothing I'm really concerned about now. I just have to be conscientious of that and make sure it's not anything that turns into anything, which at this point I doubt it, because it's been pretty similar throughout time since I've done any overhead stuff. And it's mostly my right hand, and way in the past, I'm trying to hold the camera, but the the bone that's on the thumb, let's see if I can do this. No, I can't. Basically, if you see your thumb, the bone in your forearm, the bigger one, the radius, that broke when I was in 5th or 6th grade, so I'm assuming that it's residual pain from that, if that's even possible. But that's kind of the side that it's on, particularly like in that thumb, and it could just be a lack of mobility that I have there, and just not being used to having that front rack position all of the time, which thankfully I have the mobility for it. I just may not have the mobility to do it all the time as of now, but hopefully I get used to that as I move forward with that. After that, I had some snatch pulls, which much like the snatches, I'm not very good at. I'm trying to get the form of it, and snatch pulls are going to be very beneficial to me of really working on just using my quads a lot more in the lift and not trying to just deadlift and jerk it up in some sort of convoluted way that I'm first learned how to do, because I had no idea what I was doing and I only knew how to deadlift. So I just try to deadlift it up above my head. But now I have to try to use my legs a little bit, and it definitely does make it easier when the stuff grooves. And the same thing held true for the snatch pulls. When it grooved, it felt decent. When it didn't, it was basically me doing an upright row. So it's a pretty, I'm getting better at knowing when I'm failing at it, and I'm still not good at doing it consistently, obviously, because I haven't done it enough, but I'm getting better at feeling what I should be doing on each one. So hopefully that trend continues with just all the lifts that I'm doing, and I think it probably will, because I'm a relatively athletic person, and I have Justin there to help me look at stuff, and I have the video and everyone that watches this to comment on stuff. And I think if any of you have watched my stuff for a while, I think I have a general good grasp of the general things that I need to be doing, at least a little bit. Maybe I'm a bit narcissistic, or I think too highly of myself or something, but who knows with that. Then after that, had some just regular squats, high bar, all of that fun jazz. It was supposed to be like 205, but I have the program based off my 415 high bar PR, and so I'm a little bit more aggressive with that, especially since my hip has been feeling good, and it felt good on pretty much every set, which is very encouraging. I've kind of adjusted my stance a little bit, and I think the high bar is a little bit less strenuous on my hips, and just trying some different cues, and those are working a lot better. And just generally my warm-ups before, when I first get in, I'm a little bit tight, but then it loosens up very quickly, and then it feels good throughout my workout. So that's definitely encouraging, because before it was just kind of just hurt throughout the workout regardless of what I did. So that's encouraging. So hopefully that trend continues. Up to I squat up to 225 for 3 sets of 2. So those, I mean, very easy weight for me to be doing, and just trying to control it more on the way down and explode on the way up, just so I can be more explosive in general. It's just going to be a generally good thing for me to do with all of my lifting. And then after that, I did some ab, well, at the very end I did some ab work, but before I did the ab work, I did some step-ups, just body weight, and just trying to really focus on controlling it, particularly with the right leg, because that's where I think I have a strength and balance, at least, well, I do, because my left legs, it's much easier to do that with. So I definitely want to supplement those in. I didn't do, that was the only additional work outside of the program that I did. I think Wednesdays are going to turn into days where I mostly do what's on the program, and then occasionally add other stuff, but I'm still trying to find that balance of how much extra stuff I can put in without it being a detriment to my recovery. And I think Wednesdays are kind of the day to focus on weightlifting more, and maybe like, you know, step-ups or something that's light, and all that kind of stuff. But with the way the program says, or way the program's set up, essentially has abs every time you work out of some sort. It doesn't really give anything specifics. It just says abs, which is fine for me, because I essentially just try to burn out my abs a little bit, just get them a little fatigued every time I do it, which is I think just a generally good thing for me to be doing, because I just kind of got lazy with that before, because I never really had any worries about how my abs looked, and or any of that, or I just didn't really care about my abs, because they looked, I mean, I have a six-pack and whatnot, and that's all that was the only measure that I really cared about, and I hardly care about that at all. But getting that area stronger is definitely going to just be beneficial for me to stay more upright on squats and front squats and cleans and all of that. So it's going to allow me to use my quads more efficiently and not get bent over as much. But that's really about it. Apologize for looking all around. There's people walking around, and I have the attention span of a squirrel, but thankfully I was able to keep a train of thought while I am looking all around. But if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave those things down below, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace. Hi everyone, in the second part of this video, it's not going to be about politics or any sort of life shenanigans in general. It's going to be about something specific that I'm going to be trying to do a little bit. I want to be a better morning person. I think generally I'm a pretty good morning person, especially after I get a cup of coffee, then I'm a wonderful morning person. But that time of getting out of the bed and getting that time, or getting that cup of coffee, is something that I'm just not as good as I would like to be at. I'd like to be able to get up, go up, make coffee, and sit there and, you know, be miserable for a minute, then get my coffee. But I'm very slow in that. So something I want to try, and I was listening to it in the video today, and it was, I'll put a link to it if I can think about where to find it, but it was meant for like med school, but it could also be generalized to anyone that had to get up really early in the morning. But essentially the person in the video used a couple different apps on their phone to kind of force them to get up and move a little bit, not just to have an alarm that goes off, but gets them to get up and do a math problem or spin around or to do something. So I want to play around with a couple of different apps, if I can find one that forces you to do something other than just to get up when you first get up, and see the effects of maybe it's spinning around that works, or maybe it's doing a math problem or something like that, that has a better effect to just kind of get me going a little bit without the necessity of that immediate caffeine to feel anything, because I just want to be better at it. So it's something that I'm going to work on a little bit. I'm going to experiment it with it tonight, and kind of see how it takes me in the future with that. But other than that, there really isn't too much else to talk about. I do have some political topics that are on the plate to talk about, but I figured I'd make a little quick talk about this sort of thing. Maybe I'll include some of these sort of things in the video, because I am always trying to do 1,000 different things, believe it or not. I don't have any kids or a girlfriend or wife or anything, but I keep myself extremely busy with tons of different things, but perhaps I'll use this time to talk about some of those things. But other than that, let me know what you think down below, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.